The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN, 8:30 a.m. Monday morning, 60 minutes to go until the opening bell, and we got a negative market to kick things off. We saw some fear come into the market last Thursday in particular. Markets escalating down between about 5 and 7% in the S&P and the Dow. This morning, markets down about 2%. S&P's right now negative by 56 points, but well off the lows. Check out where we were at about 2 a.m., 29.23. So you're 43 points above where we were trading at overnight. You're talking about, at 43 to the 60 were down. You were down more than 100 points at about 2 a.m. Markets trade a bit higher at about 3:15. Looks like we avoided the worst of the worst, at least, coming into the opening bell, down 4 to 5%. Talk about dicey. You have the Nasdaq 100. Not long ago, last week, we were at 10,155. You see the sell-off on Thursday. Markets get a little bit of a pop on Friday. Nasdaq 100 last night, 93.68. So you're 150 points above where you were trading at almost last night. So that means you were down almost 260 to 270 Nasdaq 100 points. The Dow under 25,000, 24,824. We were as low as 24,409. The highs of last week, 27,624. So you're talking about 3,200 Dow points from Tuesday's trading. Even if you look where we were, right where Fed Chairman Powell came on, and this is where things really accelerated. Thursday was the tough days in the market. Wednesday, things began. You see the overnight session for all the indices. When we were talking about Chairman Powell, 2:15, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time last Wednesday, you had the Dow approximately 27,350. You trade down to 24,409 early this morning in the Dow. Jumping around to commodities, oil trading lower as well, down $1.21, but off the lows as well. Crude made it to 34.36. We're currently trading 35.05. Whoops. For some context, in crude, talk about a pop from the lows, but not that long ago, we were flirting with $40, whether it was the 10th, whether it was the 8th of June. Gold contract down $23 this morning. There's your daily chart. You see the type of volatility we've been having in gold, but check out this range of, just below 1,700 to maybe 1,750, that top part of that range, maybe 1,680, the lower part of that range. Gold just bouncing around in there since about April 8th, putting it on a shorter time frame for the action overnight. Last Thursday, 1754. You were up near that level on Friday as well, and gold selling off from 1750, sitting at about 1713. But the reason why I put it in that daily context, you can see that we're kind of just bouncing around in that range. Silver down about 30 cents at 1717 this morning. Notes and bonds, we got some higher price and lower yield. The 10-year up 8 ticks at 139 flat, approaching where we were on Thursday, within about 3 ticks of where we were on Thursday. And that's interesting, right? We're right up in terms of notes being where we were on Thursday. But are we at the lows of where we were on Thursdays on the S&P? Yeah, we're actually below that level, right? 29.23. We actually eclipsed all of those levels of where we were in the indices. So just keep that in mind. Jumping back to notes and bonds, you saw the 10-year, the 30-year. 178.07, actually hitting a high, eclipsing where we were on Thursday, 178.14. And how about Bitcoin as we check in? 91.30. Bitcoin was above 10,000. Bitcoin just really trading with the markets. Jumping over to the VIX as we start off Monday trading. Talk about some volatility. 44.44. That was your print last night when the markets were down. You had the S&P down about 100 points. Still above 40, 41.63. That came charging higher on Thursday's action from 27 up to above 40 right now on the VIX. In terms of equities with action so far this morning, BP, they're going to take, and I have this article up, I think. Do I? Yeah, there it is. Quite a price tag. $17.5 billion in the second quarter they're going to write down. That's with a B, billion. They lower the oil price expectations to 2050. The UK headquartered oil and gas company said it had been reviewing its portfolio and capital development plans as part of its ambition to become a net zero company by 2050 or sooner. BP now expects international benchmark Brent crude futures to average around $55 a barrel for the next 30 years. That's quite a prediction, folks. I don't know how you imagine. I mean, they're saying it's going to average around $55 a barrel for the next 30 years, with Henry Hub gas prices forecast to average $2.90 over the same period. I don't know how you predict where oil is going to be over the next 30 years, let alone over the next 5, right? Remarkable. BP, what is it? Is it BP? Is it that easy? I think it is, ADR. Yeah, so there's your acceleration. I mean, talk about some tough woes in oil. There's your daily from $40 to $15. We're going to open lower today at $23.56 for BP. So as we're watching this, United Airlines securing $5 billion loan backed by loyalty program. Wonder how that plays out. Let's click over here and see. All right, so that's just breaking the airlines. The airlines getting hit today. They're getting hit hard. Retail's getting hit hard. I'll jump over to some of the COVID-19 coronavirus. So you get United. This is a daily. You go from the $90 range. I mean, this is the start of 2020 right here. You're talking about $90 to $17 to $50. We're going to be back at about 36 today. There's your short time frame. Some of the other airlines, especially, you closed out Delta at 30.53. We're at 28.65. Some of the domestic airlines, Southwest from 35.87 to 34. JetBlue, JBLU. Yeah, to 11.58. And why don't I jump over while we're here, too? Because, Florida, I keep pulling it up. We're all, I'm sure if you're in the market, you're checking out stories. You're watching some of the states open back up. Some of the states talk about hot spikes. And being in Florida, we got a spike here. That's for sure. I'm talking to friends even in the state and outside of the state, in terms of home, Boston. Fortunately, cases still declining in Massachusetts. Some of the states, some of the only states is declining in other New England area where it was hit so hard that things really shut down and they're just beginning to open back up. Whether you have Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, of course. But in Florida, quite the caseload. We saw over the weekend a new spike high, 2581. So we went over the last 4 days. You're talking about almost 8,200 cases in Florida alone. 1,700, 1,900, 2,600 almost, and above 2,000 for yesterday's count as well. So staggering numbers, and that kind of hitting the market as there should be a realistic expectation as some of these. We've seen the spikes in Houston. We've seen the spikes in Arizona. And it's probably going to be a local thing. And it doesn't mean, places can't remain open. But if this really accelerates, and that is some scary, dicey things. When you think back to in the middle of April, we were talking about 800 cases. And we're now at 2,560. Stay tuned, folks. We'll go over other equities to start off the week. We'll be right back in 3 minutes.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The gold report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the gold report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, JDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the gold report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-Shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&P's negative by 58, Nasdaq negative by 120. You get the Dow off 575, so the Dow 2.26% in the negative, but we're solid 400 and about 15 points off the lows last night. If you were up at 2 in the morning, things were getting a little dicey last night, and it seems to have avoided the worst of the worst, at least, but we still got about 45 minutes to go until the trading day technically begins. Jumping back to some of the equities with action, I'm going to jump around in this list because there's some interesting stories. Hertz. So we've been following the story with Hertz. They went in front of a bankruptcy judge on Friday asking to sell up to $1 billion in its stock. The judge says, sure, people want to buy your worthless stock. You have every right to sell it to them. Hertz. This morning, though, so we closed out at 283. We're trading already back at about 220. We were just up at almost $7. You were down at $1.60. Buyer beware. You buy those shares. Hertz is telling you as you buy them that they could be worthless. And why are you buying shares of a bankrupt company? Maybe there's some value. I'm not sure where that ends up, and neither should you be, because things are pretty fluid in that. So Shopify and Walmart, pretty cool story here. They're going to be partnering with an e-commerce. So Walmart's partnering with Shopify to expand its third-party marketplace site. Separately, Piper Sandler upgraded Shopify to overweight from neutral based on expectations that digital commerce penetration rates could double or even triple by 2030. Shopify has been one of the biggest runners in this run of the markets, and look at that acceleration on that story in terms of getting an upgrade and getting a deal with Walmart. Pretty remarkable that you can have a company like Walmart turning to a company like Shopify, right, and saying you're going to allow us to increase our third-party marketplace environment and our sales and our bottom line and our top line. Nonetheless, quite an acceleration up to almost 800. Putting this on some context, folks, we're coming up to that 844 high from a 300 low, basically. Remarkable. How about Tesla? Speaking of remarkable, where we're at this morning, Tesla hitting 1,027 last week, coming back to some normal realm of normalcy, we'll call it, to 910 this morning. Putting that where you're at, I mean, you're right up at this level, right? That was kind of the peak at about 910 back in February. You just clipped that mark in February as well. We got back to the high of 870 about in April, and you're talking about 1,027. But keeping in mind, we just traded from $350 to 1,027 on Tesla. Checking in on some of the FANG stocks to start off the week. All of these, I mean, Microsoft, we're actually going to be $2 lower at 185. You see, we're right where we've been in terms of the highs before COVID. The highs we were hanging around since about the whole month of May. Jumping over to Google shares, not quite the same level in terms of reaching 1532. We're going to open at 1391 in Google. It's a little bit negative. Microsoft shares, we covered 187. Facebook shares, above those highs in February at 228. You're going to open lower at 225 as well. Netflix checking in, 418. We're going to open actually positive on Netflix. It's always interesting to see the stocks that reacted the best, right? When everything shut down, the stocks that reacted the best. When the market falls apart like this, the S&Ps are down 60 points. Maybe everyone's going to stay home if we get these spikes. And it doesn't mean the economy needs to shut down. You know, it's hard to just stay on the market when the market is reacting to coronavirus. All right. So that's the hem and the haw, the back and forth there is that all we do is hear about it. You kind of want to, you're sick of it, right? You just want life to move on. But when it's affecting the markets and you're down 2% left and right, I mean, let me see. I think I have 5 things to know. Yeah, look at the volatility we've had in the markets that have to do with. All was well until June 8th, right? 5 straight days, let alone we had like 14 of 17 straight days of going up into the May non-farm payrolls number, which is that June 5th huge acceleration. We get continuation on Monday, and then down 1, down 7 in the Dow. Remarkable. Now, we had Boeing accelerating as well, but talk about some volatility, and the numbers are what's driving it. And, we had to shut everything down at first because we were not sure if we were going to have the equipment and the capability to handle everything. Hopefully, that's kind of in place, at least to a much better degree than it was in middle of February, 4 months ago. I think it should be a lot better than where it is right now in terms of testing, tracing, all of that going on nationwide, statewide. But nonetheless, you can open back up. But the point being, if you see these types of spikes, just speaking personally as someone in Florida, okay, I'm in my 40s now. I have my dad. He's approaching his age, right? You have people in high risk. It's just going to affect the type of business you do. It's going to affect your travel. It's going to affect everything, especially if these numbers climb in the summer. And how do schools and all that case stuff open back up? Are you going to be as active? And that's a real worry when you see these businesses. And that's why maybe Netflix, to jump back to the point, trading a bit higher this morning, and Amazon, let's check in, the giant of them all, from 25.45. We're going to open actually a bit lower, but still over 2,500. Amazon holding tough at about 25.25. We were as low as 25.03 to end last week on Amazon. All right, other equities with action. So we covered Shopify and Walmart. We covered Hertz. Disney's Hong Kong Disneyland. They're going to reopen June 18th with a reduced number of visitors and enhanced health measures with social distancing. I believe they have a scheduled open somewhere around July 11th or something like that for Florida for Disney. And you see Disney living and dying on this economy, Disney, because if things go bad, Disney's going to be in a tough spot. They get a lot of parks. If you're in the park business and coronavirus doesn't go away and you have to keep your capacity at 30%, 50%, masks everywhere, that's a tough one. But I look forward to what the numbers on Disney Plus are going to be and where Disney's going to be at in 12, 24, even 36 months when things do resume to normal. And Disney's got 100 million plus subscribers jammed in the period of 1 to 2 years, which is remarkable when you think about you could potentially sign up 9 figures of people, 100 million people to your recurring pay service in the span of 12 to 24 months. But it seems like that's something Disney's easily going to peak at 55, 60 million already. But when do those parks open back up? When do movie theaters open back up to show their blockbuster films? Star Wars, Marvel, Lion King, Aladdin, Elsa, Anna, right? Frozen, all of that stuff. let alone the parks. And ESPN, sporting. But looks like we're going to start getting sports back at least. Fans is going to be a question, but you're going to get sports on TV. That ESPN revenue is probably going to start kicking back in on Disney. But the parks, they got a few things to go for sure. We got upgrades and downgrades. Intel getting an upgrade to overweight from neutral at KeyBank, which said the chip makers in a strong position to take advantage of the next wave of computing beyond PCs, phones, and tablets. Jumping over to Intel, some of these chip stocks. Intel basically flat, market's down like 2%, so Intel holding flat right now. Talk about some volatility on these stocks as well. A little bit of a drop off, but we've gone from 43 back to 65, almost in that range we were at pre-COVID. AMD shares this morning. Down a bit from 53.50. We got a bid ask of about 52.69, but again, right in this upper end range. And AT&T, they're seeking the sale of its Warner Gaming unit. According to two people familiar with the matter, they say Take-Two, Activision, and EA are said to express interest in the unit. Could fetch up to $4 billion. Not bad. Gaming, online gaming, the whole deal. AT&T, a little bit of problems there. Jumping around. I mean, some of these stocks that if you're going to be around and you have good dividends, folks, Verizon, one of them as well, from 62 down to 48 at the low, back up to 58. Just huge stocks there. And some of these gaming stocks, that's what I was looking for. Take-Two, talk about charging higher from 100 to 150. We're going to open above flat at 133.94. Stay tuned, folks. Come back in 3 minutes to finish up the show. Get ready for Monday trading. We'll be right back.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, BAM! As well as,
whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab. Bam!
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionics, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. S&P is pretty much where we started off the program, down about 57 points, trading at 29.66. Zooming in the shorter time frame on this. Let me pull this drawing off to make it nice and clear. 29.66, as I mentioned, off the 29.23 low. We've been hanging at this level since about 4:45 in the morning. Jumping over the Dow. Dow trading 24,824. Boeing, talk about some volatility, putting it in the Dow. Boeing from down about $10 from last week. We were as low as 166. You went from 240 on Tuesday to 166 on Friday. You're talking about, what is that, $75 almost on the price of Boeing from 240, shaving it off. You're talking about a 30% haircut, really putting some pain in the Dow as well on that number. Gold continuing to pull back a bit as we've been on the air, though. Gold at 1708, session lows. We started off the show at about 1714. Silver contract down an additional 12 pennies to 1706 right now as those metal markets are moving. Crude oil down $1.36, under 35 now at 34.90. We were as low as 34.36 overnight in the price of crude. Jumping around to some of the other equities I'm always looking at. Some of the ride hailing, always volatile as things open back up or not. Uber, they had the potential to go after Grubhub, that deal falling apart. You see the acceleration on Uber, that deal falling apart Wednesday. There's your drop, but Uber down to about 31.30. Interesting, some of these companies, right? I mean, look at that drop off from 13 to 38. We're going to open back at 31, which is going to put you all the way back to almost April 27th of where you were in the price of Uber shares. Lyft as well. Not quite the same pop as Uber or the volatility. Lyft at 36.89 on that volatility. And some of the cannabis stocks checking in. Canopy really disappointing on their earnings numbers back on May 27th, I think, after the bell. Nonetheless, dropping out. We're back in the 1650 range. Kronos, we're back in this lower range on the cannabis stocks as they get some woes. The economy got some woes, and we'll check in on the VIX with 35 minutes to go until the opening bell. 41.35. Look at that spike. Pay attention to that spike, folks. Pay attention. Pay attention to Larry Pesavento coming up next with Trade What You See, live programming all day at TFNN. We'll be